Hi guys, it's Catherine. So in this video I'm going to be talking about some of the books that are coming out this month, July 2018, that I'm particularly excited about. And I'm a little bit late in posting this video because some of the books actually come out tomorrow, but I'm still excited about them, and there's actually some paperback releases that I wanted to talk about first. I usually prefer to buy books in paperback when I can, partly because they're cheaper and also because they're more portable and I like to carry books around with me. So there are two that are coming out this month that I will definitely be buying, and the first one is Mythos by Stephen Fry. And I actually read this earlier this year in hardback, but it was a library edition, but it's a book that I'd really like to own because it's the kind of thing that's nice to come back to. So it's coming out in paperback this month and I'll definitely be buying it. I actually talked about this book in a video specifically about mythology retellings, so I'll link that above and in the description, but this one is a collection of stories from Greek mythology that are retold really wonderfully by Stephen Fry, and he has his kind of classic humour throughout, and also a lot of footnotes with some information about the origins of the words that are used. I feel like it was a great entry point into Greek mythology because I actually didn't know a huge amount about it beforehand, and it's one that I would really like to go back to and reread. So that comes out on the 26th of July. And the other paperback book that's coming out this month is My Absolute Darling by Gabriel Tallent. And I don't even know an awful lot about this one other than it's been absolutely heaped with praise, both critically and also on YouTube and on blogs. It's about a 14-year-old girl who lives remotely with her father and has had to grow up very quickly and learn how to survive. The premise reminds me slightly of Elmet by Mosse, which I really enjoyed, but I don't really know how far the similarities go since I've not obviously read this one, but I've heard pretty much all good things about it, so I'm definitely up for trying it. And now I'll talk about the new releases this month that are coming out in hardback. So firstly, on the 5th of July is There by Tommy Orange. It's a debut novel by an author who's part of an indigenous community in the US, and the book follows a family who are part of the Native American community living in California, and supposedly the narrative is multi-generational, a kind of epic, and that's really exactly the type of book that I love. It's already been acclaimed by Marlon James and Margaret Atwood, so I do have high hopes for this one. Also on July the 5th is The Changeling by Victor Lavalle, and this explores, as the title suggests, the folkloric fairy tale idea of the changeling, but in a modern setting. It's set in New York. It's about a mother who does something unforgivable, and I think the blurb kind of sums it up better than I would, and it says, "It imaginatively explores parental obsession, spousal love, and the secrets that make strangers out of the people we love the most." There was also one review of it that I read that I particularly liked that described it as a woke Brothers Grimm, and that, if nothing else, catches my interest, that definitely will. Also on the 5th of July is Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig, who is the acclaimed author of both works of fiction like How to Stop Time and non-fiction like Reasons to Stay Alive. And this one is also non-fiction, it's following in the same lines as Reasons to Stay Alive, and it is a kind of musing on modern life, the internet, the workplace and mental health. I don't really like self-help books at all, but I do have faith that this is something a bit different. I don't think it's a kind of polemic about how we shouldn't be using Facebook, but hopefully more of a discussion about the kind of problems that we all face in the 21st century. On the 12th of July is Hold by Michael Donkor, which I've already heard quite a lot about, and he was selected as one of the new faces in fiction for 2018 by The Observer. The novel is set in both Ghana and London, and it's about a girl who is sent to London to befriend the daughter of a Ghanaian family who fear that their daughter is going off the rails. Supposedly it's a coming-of-age novel with some twee dialogue, and from what I've heard, I don't know, it might be comparable to Homegoing by Yad Yassi, which I really loved, but either way I think it will be very good. On the 12th of July too is Everything Under by Daisy Johnson, who is the author of a prize-winning short story collection. This novel is set in modern rural England about a woman who has not seen her mother since childhood, but her past catches up to her when she gets a phone call from a hospital with some unexpected news. And supposedly it has an element of folklore in it, so I'm absolutely up for that. One that I'm most interested in also comes out on the 12th of July, and it's called Putney by Sofka Zinovieff, and it's been described as a modern-day Lolita. This is about a composer in 70s London who visits his friend to talk about a collaboration and forms an obsession with his friend's daughter. The issue here is that he is 25 and his friend's daughter is 9 years old. So this novel, unsurprisingly, explores this taboo and moral boundaries from the perspective of the girl as an adult looking back on her childhood. It's obviously a very tricky and controversial topic, but I've heard that it does it very sensitively and very well, so I'd be really interested to read this one. On the 26th of July is Codex 1962 by Sjón, translated from the Icelandic by Victoria Cribb. And I actually just talked about another book by Sjón called The Blue Fox in my very last video about Icelandic books, because I really enjoyed that short novella, but this is something quite different. It's, I think it's more than 500 pages, it's a kind of epic novel. This tells the story of Lavalle, whose father moved from Germany to Iceland during the Second World War, and I'll read out what the publisher says. It says, "In this epic novel, Sjón has woven ancient and modern material into a singular masterpiece, encompassing genre fiction, history, theology, folklore, expressionist film, poetry, comic strips, myth, drama, and of course, the rich tradition of Icelandic storytelling." I'm actually very excited about this because I really enjoyed a lot of the Icelandic books that I've read, and his style in particular is very distinctive, and the book that I read before was just 100 pages and I was really hoping for a lot more, and I think this will provide exactly that. The last book I wanted to mention in this video also comes out on the 26th of July, and it's actually a collection of short stories. It's called Am Heathcliff and it's edited by Kate Mosse, who just recently came out with a book called The Burning Chambers, which was great as well. It's a collection of stories inspired by Wuthering Heights, written by a selection of really great authors including Joanna Cannon, Juno Dawson and Nikesh Shukla. I imagine with the talent they've got on board for this, it will be something really interesting. So those are the books that I'm most excited about in July. I have no chance of getting round to all of them this month, but I hope to at least buy a couple of them. Let me know if there's any of these ones that you're interested in, or if there's any others that I've left off that are particularly exciting. I'll be definitely posting more videos this month. I know I've been a little bit lax over the last few weeks, I've just been very busy, but there'll be another one coming next week. So I'll see you then. Bye bye. So happy.